Hey everyone, this is Dr. Jessica Nerren in the Accommodations Office, SSD, here at CSUSB. I am here today to talk to you a little bit about testing accommodations and how they shake hands with Canvas. So you may get an accommodations letter that says something like, a student has extra time to take a test. Now, if it's a Scantron, if it's a paper test, that can be done the old-fashioned way. If it's on Canvas as our campus learning management system, sometimes it takes clicking through a couple of menus and figuring out exactly how to implement that accommodation. So I am here for you. And I have dug to find some resources, and they're also provided on our website in an on-demand fashion, both in video and in written step-by-step form. Sometimes for me, I'm more of like a written step-by-step person than a video, which I understand is a little silly because I'm making a video right now. But just because I like one way, someone else might like something another way. And that's part of universal design for learning too. So I want to make sure that you have this information any way and every way that it's useful to you. Okay, so what does it look like for us to implement this accommodation? What I'm going to show you is one of my old classes. I'm going to kind of have some of the items off to the right a little bit, so that way you don't get a lot of bonus information that you don't need for this process. But you're gonna get to see exactly what to do. Okay, so this is my old PR writing course back from my teaching days. And what you'll do is you'll go ahead to quizzes and you'll click on it. Okay, and then you'll pick the quiz that it is that you want to work on. Then on this right side, you're going to see moderate this quiz. You're going to go ahead and click on that. And then you're going to have a student list. Okay, so I did have one student who I worked on unlocking and testing this in advance, not because it's an SSD student. I have no idea if they are or not. I'm just using this as an example. So you would select the student that you're accommodating, and you would go ahead and select the box next to their name, and then you would select change extensions. Right. So what they're saying when they say change extensions, I don't know why they use that language to say it, but they do. They're saying, what different testing scenarios would you like to modify for this student? Right. So we have testing accommodations that are time and a half, and we have testing accommodations that are double the amount of time that another student might get. Right. The good thing is when it's in Canvas, sometimes that can be very private and unique to that student in a way that really honors their privacy and really values their inherent worth and dignity as a person with differences, because nobody else needs to know. There's not one student staying behind to finish their test or going to the proctoring center. So this can be a really nice and neat and clean way to do this. So let's say that you have a student that gets time and a half, right? So for the purposes of this, I set up the test to say everyone gets 10 minutes. So time and a half would be 15 minutes. Double time would be 20 minutes. Okay. I have seen accommodations where there's additional attempts. But I also do have tests myself in some of my classes that have unlimited attempts or multiple attempts. Maybe you do too. Maybe everyone's run through the test and you miss the extra time and you need to give a second time to take it so that the accommodation can be implemented. You know, that would be preferred to us than an accommodation going missed. So you've got lots of options, and we'll work with you in order to make sure that the accommodation is implemented. But the most important thing to know is you go to quizzes, you go to moderate, then you select the student, and then you go down to the bottom to change extension. Then at that point, you would put in the difference in time, right? So if everyone gets 10 minutes, if it's 2 times the amount of time for the student, it would be 20 minutes. You would save it. And then when that student takes that quiz or that test, they would have the right amount of time for them according to their unique need, according to their functional limitation, and according to their accommodations on file with our office of SSD. So That is a little bit of a how-to on how to click through and modify the time in your accommodation letters. What I would always recommend is go through and check your accommodation letters a couple times during the term just to make sure you don't miss anything. And then that way everything goes really smoothly and really well. And we're always here to support you too. If you have any questions or you need anything else, my email is jessica.nerren@csusb.edu. Thank you.